Hey, Facebook and YouTube and well, Instagram doesn't want to work for some reason. It keeps saying my internet connection is not strong enough, which makes no sense because there's 5 bars. So I don't know what's going on. Instagram, I'm sorry. If you want to watch this, you can watch it on Facebook. I'll try and post it after. So today I really want to discuss the whole concept of how your self-talk actually speaks volumes in your life. Your self-talk speaks major volumes throughout your life. So I'm not entirely sure what the heck is going on here with Instagram, but we're going to break this into 2 separate portions as to how negative self-talk can poorly translate into your life and how positive self-talk makes a much deeper impact in your day-to-day. So that being said, let's talk about some of like what self-talk actually is, right? Your self-talk is how you talk to yourself. Oh, you're wonderful. Oh, you're shitty. Oh, you're smart. Oh, you're stupid. Like you say it to yourself, right? How many times do you look in the mirror and say, oh, I'm so fat or whatever, something like this. This is what we call self-talk, how you talk to yourself and how you describe things to yourself. Okay. So when it comes to negative self-talk, basically it can be grounded in mean things, poorly worded things like negative connotations. And what it can actually end up doing is it can make things from our inner critic sound so much worse than what they actually are, right? If we follow the kind of normal cognitive distortions of negative self-talk, this would lead us to catastrophizing, blaming, and more. So catastrophizing, like, oh my God, something's the end of the world, we'll blame other people, etc. So there are negative consequences to self-talk, right? It can lead us to a lot of rumination. It can lead us to depressive tendencies. I'm not diagnosing, I'm just saying it can lead to depressive feelings. It can lead to feelings of overwhelm, right? It can limit our thinking. So the more we tell ourselves we can't do something, the more likely we are to believe it. It can lead to perfectionism, right? We really start to believe that great isn't as good as perfect, and that perfection is actually attainable. For some reason, some people think that this is attainable. In contrast, perfectionists tend to be less happy. In contrast, I mean, people who are perfectionists tend to be less happy, more stressed, and spend way too much time on a project versus people who can learn to let go and just strive for greatness or goodness even are tending to be less stressed. They place a much higher importance on being happy with the job well done, and they don't pick it apart to all flying peeps. Okay. Negative self-talk can lead to also lowered ability to see different opportunities. So for example, in friendships, in relationships, in our day-to-day life, this can lead to, like I said, depressive tendencies. And there actually has been some research correlating that negative self-talk can lead to an exacerbation, meaning a high intensity or more prone feeling of depression. Okay. So if it can be left unchecked, this can be quite damaging. So please monitor it. And if you do see like you need help, please seek the help that you need. It can also lead to different relationship challenges within friendships, families, relationships. Whether the constant self-criticism is making us seem more needy or more insecure, or you turn your self-talk into like more negative general habits about others, the lack of communication can even play a huge role, right? So if we're constantly criticizing somebody else, we're trying to take them down. If we're constantly criticizing ourselves, it can get annoying for our partners, our friends, our families. And so there's a lot more drawbacks to negative self-talk, but I did want to point out that it can be quite damaging. And different ways that you can get through this would be, number one, giving your inner critic a name. So the negative self-talk voice is typically called the inner critic. It's the person inside you that is criticizing how you look, who you are, what you do, what you can do. And so a lot of my clients actually call him Fred or Frank. We did a challenge a long time ago where we talked about banish the bitch, meaning the inner critic, and we would flick Frank off of our shoulders frequently. We can channel our things into, like, we can channel our negative self-talk into positive habits, right? When we start shifting our perspective, what I always tell my clients is this: how you experience the world is how you perceive the world. And in order for you to change your perspective, you need to change your experience in the world. So if you're constantly in a negative environment with shitty friends or a shitty environment, period, or from yourself, you need to shift your experience of your day-to-day in order to pull out of it. So let's have a little bit of a shift here. Let's talk about positive self-talk. When we talk about positive self-talk, this is where you start to hype yourself up. This is where you see self-confidence growing, okay? So a good example might be like a job interview. We were feeling nervous, perhaps, going into an interview or something along those lines. And, if you start giving yourself that positive self-talk instead of negative. So example, you go into this job interview, you do it, and then you leave it saying, oh my God, I messed up. I'm stupid. I could never get this job. Instead, when you flip it to positive self-talk, you can ask yourself, am I being overly critical of myself? Was it only good or bad, or somewhere in the middle? What did I do well? What can I improve on for future? Things like these. So positive self-talk is what I like to call flipping the script. When we catch it ourselves talking negatively about ourselves or about somebody else, I want you to flip the script and put it into a positive context. Okay? So 3 steps for you to start practicing self-talk is, number 1, actually notice your thoughts. Pay attention to what you say to yourself. A lot of the times we just go through our day-to-day and don't even really pay attention to that inner critic babbling on in our heads. So start paying attention to that inner critic. Start monitoring what they say. Number 2 is to start to challenge those negative thoughts by flipping the script. Am I being overly critical? Am I overreacting? Is there only good or only bad, or was there a middle ground? Is this thought even true? Is there proof or evidence for what I'm thinking? Is there anything I can do to change the situation? These are questions you can ask yourself. Or you can actually do step number 3, which is reframing or flipping the script. So we use more positive words and phrasing, and lo and behold, soon enough, you'll be much more able to monitor your self-talk and catch yourself. So a good example is, oh my God, I hate my stomach. You caught yourself saying that because you're starting to pull at your shirt and you say, oh my God, I hate my stomach. And instead, you start saying, I'm working on my stomach. I'm actively working on making myself better. I'm getting healthier. So reframing that, oh my God, I hate my stomach, is thank you, stomach, for, keeping me alive. And I promise I'll treat you better. I'm working on treating you better. You don't have to love that part of yourself right away. Just acknowledge what it does for you and draw your attention to something else. So another good example might be like, oh, I could never do that. No. You have every possibility to do something. You just need to change your reality by changing your experience. So how to reframe that is, that's something I would love to do. I'm not sure how. So if it's something that you want to do, but you're like, oh my God, I could never do that. That's something I want to do. Let's learn how. So by breaking it down and reframing things in your day-to-day, this allows you to understand your thought patterns and actively seek different patterns of being. Because I don't know about you, but I don't want to be stuck in that negative, pessimistic world where I think everybody's out to get me, or I'm super critical of themselves and myself. I would much rather be in a more relaxed state, a more stress-free state, keeping my body's inflammation low, and practicing the goodness that comes out of saying, hey, you're freaking awesome. Hey, you know what? Thanks, body, for what you do for me. You know what? I've got some work to do. I guess I should probably go do it. Things like this is a much different state, and a different state that I would much rather be in than living in pessimistic critiquesville. So flick the Frank off your shoulder. It's a fresh start to the week. It's Monday. In the comments below, if you want to let me know what your biggest takeaway was, or different habits that you have that are great for practicing positivity, let me know, because I'm always looking to grow. And if you got any value, make sure to give me some fuego, give me some love, something in the comments below. And just, have a kick-ass week, guys. Carly, you are here and you are saying you don't want to be stuck in that negative mindset either, right? It's a nasty place to be. So let's actively make the world a better place by making ourselves better. It's the fastest way to start changing it. Make yourself better and you have a direct impact on the world around you. I appreciate you guys. Thanks so much for joining in on today's Sweet Talk Daily, where we make fitness palatable. Bye.